What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. And I think it's time we went back to our look ahead to the 2025 draft. Had to put this on the back burner for a little bit there because there was a lot of Seahawks stuff happening. That's always going to take priority. But I do want to try to get out as much draft preview stuff before the college football season actually starts. And we're not that far away from it starting. So I might hit the accelerator with these videos in the next couple of weeks here. But today we're going to be looking at 2025 draft wide receivers. So this is a position that has generally been very good in the draft over the last several years. And this year looks like it's going to be very good as well. If you take a look at NFL Mock Draft Database, look at their aggregate big board, which is the resource that I love using in these videos, you'll see that there are 4 receivers currently ranked in the first round, according to, again, the big board. And there is a 5th one that is basically a first-round pick. And I'll say this, just to give it away a little bit. Looking at the guy that they have just outside the first round, I think that he probably will be a first-round pick by the time the season is over. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. We've got some very interesting guys. We've got 2 guys in the top 10. We got one guy who was somewhere around the top 10 last year. Then he got hurt. So therefore, we didn't really get a chance to feel out exactly where he would have ended up. But I think he would have ended up very strongly. Could easily get back to that point again this year, if not better. And then you've got 2 guys who just transferred to some very prolific college offenses. So let's just go in order here. They've got 2 guys, like I said, in the top 10. We're going to start with Luther Burden. By the way, the mock draft aggregate actually has him currently going number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers. So Luther Burden, Missouri, still at Missouri. Spent the last 2 years there. Last year was his big breakout, 86 catches, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. Also does a little bit on the ground. Very productive player. Figures to have another very productive season in 2024. He's really good at contested catches. He will pluck the ball out of the air in extremely difficult circumstances. Really good at bringing it down in traffic, through contact, whatever he needs to do. His skills in that area are great. He's excellent in the open field. You get him the ball with room to maneuver, he's going to make people miss. He's going to get extra yards. He might even break it into a big play. You're going to be able to utilize Luther Burden all over the field. You're going to be able to utilize him as a slot receiver and an outside receiver. You're going to be able to utilize him on the move. There's going to be a lot of different things that you can do with a player like Luther Burden that will help your offense. His acceleration is really good as well. He accelerates to his top speed very quickly. He's got great hands, so he has the ball skills and the hands to go with it. He's a quality route runner. He can run good routes. So there's a lot to like with Luther Burden, admittedly. The concern that I have is that he might end up losing some of his versatility in the NFL because the physicality is not in his favor typically. Physical defenders, physical cornerbacks can throw him off. They can get up on him at the line of scrimmage and really make it hard for him to release. He might end up playing in the slot in the NFL. He might end up being a slot-only guy. He's not very fast either. He's quick. He can accelerate quickly, but he doesn't have that burner over-the-top speed that allows him to uncover deep and catch those really long passes. So you might be looking at a guy who is just meant to catch quick, short passes, stuff over the middle, and make stuff happen after he gets the ball in his hands. And that might make him more of a slot guy. This might be more of an Amon-Ra St. Brown. But a lot to like, for sure. I get it. I get the hype. This next guy, however, I actually like a little bit more. It's Tetairoa McMillan. It's McMillan, okay? McMillan of Arizona. McMillan of Arizona, currently ranked 8th on the aggregate big board. And as the year goes on, I'll probably figure out how to pronounce his first name. This is what happens when you watch college games on mute, because you never hear what the announcers call them. So, McMillan of Arizona. Really sad this guy didn't transfer to Washington, by the way, because he's very good. He had a monster year last year. 1,400 yards, 90 catches, 10 touchdowns. The year before that was also pretty good. And this year figures to be maybe his most productive yet. It's on the table here. He's a big dude, massive catch radius. You put the ball in his zip code, he's going to go get it. He's very elusive in the open field as well. He's very slippery, hard to bring down. He's a great route runner overall. Very sharp cuts to his routes. Great ability to get open. He's got great body control, and his hands are really good as well. So he's going to bend his body in all different directions to bring in the ball, and he's going to reliably bring it in if he gets his hands on it. The catch in traffic ability is definitely there with McMillan. His yards after the catch skills are on point, and I'm describing this. It sounds like he has almost everything in his back pocket. It sounds like his skill set is pretty complete, and many ways, I think that it mostly is. There are a couple of issues, and they have some similarities, honestly, with Luther Burden, and get used to hearing about that going forward. Press coverage is going to be a problem for him. He hasn't really learned how to beat press yet. The physicality of a cornerback that is getting up in his face at the line can give him problems. His top speed is also not great. And sometimes it feels like he doesn't separate as much as you would like. It kind of makes me think, it's not the same thing, but it kind of makes me think of Rome Odunze last year, where Odunze was so good at contested catches. Sometimes it seemed like he didn't even really want to get open because he was like, I'm going to be able to catch it anyway. Who cares? So it could be a little bit of that going on as well, but he doesn't have great top speed. He's pretty good at accelerating, but the top speed isn't there. So this could be another guy who ends up as an Amon-Ra type that plays in the slot. Next guy is Emeka Egbuka of Ohio State, the Buckeye. And this is the guy who looked like he was going to be a first-round pick last year, but then he got hurt. You look at the numbers here for the Ohio State kid. I mean, they were really good in 2022. He had C.J. Stroud there. That was Marvin Harrison there. You had really, really good offense. 74 catches, 1,150 yards, 10 touchdowns. Did some stuff on the ground as well, by the way. They utilized him in that capacity. And then last year, he missed time. He got hurt. Didn't do as much. He was competing with a fully bloomed Marvin Harrison Jr. He no longer had C.J. Stroud. By the way, Cade Stover was there as well, so your numbers go way down. It happens, but very talented dude. Very good at running short routes underneath. Great route runner overall. Allows him to get open very quickly. Very good at finding holes in zone defense so he can beat man because he's a great route runner. And he's smart enough to find the holes to beat zone. So whatever you throw at him defensively, he's going to know what to do. He's got great hands, and he's really good at catching in traffic. Like, you can throw him the ball in a tight window over the middle, and he's going to go get it. So, great skills in that regard. He's really good after the catch as well. You get the ball in his hands, and he's going to put in the work, excuse me, to make sure he's maximizing his yardage after he gets the ball. So, it's sounding a little bit familiar, right? And that also goes when it comes to listing out his weaknesses. He's not particularly fast. Doesn't really win downfield that much. His catch radius is a little bit smaller than you would like, admittedly. While I do think he's good at catching in traffic, he's not great at doing like jump ball and contested catch stuff where he's just like, give me a one-on-one ball and I'll go up and get it. You're not seeing that as much with Egbuka. And the injuries also put a little bit of a damper here. If he gets hurt again in 2024, he's going to carry that scarlet letter into the draft. And it's going to put some people off of him. If it wasn't for the injury last year, he probably is already a pro right now. He's probably playing in the NFL in a preseason game this week. So, again, it's sounding kind of familiar, right? A lot of these guys, Burden, McMillan, Egbuka, I kind of feel like all of them might end up playing in the slot more so than they play on the outside. And that's cool and all, but where'd all the outside receivers go? We need some of that. Next guy is a guy who's just barely hanging on the edge of the first round, Evan Stewart of Oregon, the Duck. Transferred over from Texas A&M. Did not have big numbers at Texas A&M. He did play and play respectably. He did stuff. Not taking anything away from that, but he hasn't had the big breakout year yet. Oregon's a pretty good place to have your big breakout year. So look for this guy to move on up in the world in 2024. I could definitely see 1,200, 1,300 yards, no problem. And that could propel him to the NFL. Really good athlete. Might be the best athlete of this bunch. His ability to accelerate, his ability to his agility, his jumps, they're extraordinary, Evan Stewart. That stands out about him. Gets up to his top speed quickly, runs good routes in terms of his ability to uncover quickly. Like if he can get off the line, he's going to shake open. He's proven productive on short stuff, on stuff deep, and on stuff in the intermediate areas of the field. So wherever you get him the ball, he's going to go do something with it. He's going to do good stuff. He's got great footwork as well. He's really good at setting up defenders and defensive backs by using his footwork to make you think he's doing one thing and then doing another thing. Very smooth in the way that he shakes free. It's almost like a isolation basketball player in some regards. Really good in the open field as well. You get him the ball in his hands, he's going to make people miss. He's going to get extra yards, and he's going to make life hard for defenses. Now, Evan Stewart, you look at him, immediately you realize what the issue could be. This guy's very small, 170 pounds right now, and he might get a little bit bigger than that, but he's definitely working with a smaller frame than these other guys. That's going to be a problem, and because of that, he might not be able to beat jams at the line of scrimmage. He might not be able to beat press. Physicality could eat him up. And you can forget about him blocking. It doesn't seem like he's going to be much of a blocker at the NFL level because he's just a little too small and he doesn't seem to have the willingness either. So I say it again. Is this another guy who's meant to play in the slot? Because while he's a great athlete and there is some really good stuff about him, I don't know about his speed. I don't know if he's a great speedster, a vertical threat. That remains to be seen, I think. So this could be another guy who's just kind of meant to play on the inside. Final guy is just outside the first round at the moment. He is 34th overall. He is projected to go in the first round according to the database's mock draft stuff, which, I mean, take that as you will. I personally think that Isaiah Bond is going to end up going in the first round because of the situation he finds himself in. He transferred from Alabama to Texas. He had good production at Alabama last year. He was one of their better receivers, almost 50 catches, 670 yards. So he was good, but now he's transferring over to Texas, and he's getting Quinn Ewers in a big year for him, a prove-it year in a way. Texas lost Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, and Adonai Mitchell. They lost Tavion Sanders. They lost their top two running backs. Like, he's going to get the ball thrown his way so much this year that it's hard to imagine him not having a monster season and replacing Xavier Worthy in many ways and being a first-round pick by the time this whole process is over. So Isaiah Bond is going to be there. He's extremely fast, and he's extremely quick to get up to that fast top speed. So this is a worthy successor to Xavier Worthy. I mean, he has the same kind of skill set. He's not as fast, but he's very fast and very quick. And he's also really good at tracking those deep balls. It's the Tyler Lockett stuff. It's not just about the ability to get deep open and then separate from your man. You then need to find the ball in the air and bring it in. And just like Tyler Lockett's really good at that, this is a guy who's very good at that kind of stuff. He's also really good at using his elite speed to trick the defender into thinking he's going deep and then breaking off an underneath route. So that's something that is going to be to his benefit. It's kind of like what we see with DK Metcalf, where defenses are so afraid of him going deep. When he breaks it off into a comebacker, it's almost impossible for the defense to do anything about it. He's hard to track in the open field as well. He's another guy who's going to be really hard to bring down once he has the ball in his hands. Now, this is another guy who's physically weak and small. He's on the level of Evan Stewart, I think, in that regard. It's not listed here officially, but this is a smaller guy. He's also physically weak. His footwork on his routes could use some work. He needs a little bit of fine-tuning with his route running. It's not bad, but I do think that there are some things he needs to iron out there. And he's not very good at, like, catching the ball with his hands. If he's not catching a ball that's, like, deep down the field over his shoulder, he lets it get into his chest. He doesn't reach his hands out to meet the ball, and that gives defenders a chance to knock it away. So he's got to work on his ball skills. But there's a lot of talent here, and I do think that by the end of the year, he's going to be viewed as a top 32 guy. That's what I got on the top receivers this year. Let me know what you think. See you guys later. Go Hawks.